Robert Saleh going to the Jaguars, what a debacle. I mean, you just gave your quarterback a lot of money, $55 million. He couldn't win with Aaron Rodgers. He couldn't win with anybody. You're going to put him with a young quarterback that still hasn't developed with Doug Peterson? What are you, nuts? That is absolutely ridiculous. That is just filling. If you're a Jets fan, you're loving this. Bambi going to the Jaguars and screwing that up, that is a plus for you Jet fans. Absolutely a joke. Liam going and staying with the Buccaneers, this is a good move for Liam. He's a good offensive coordinator. He has a chance next year to land a really good job. There's going to be a lot of jobs that are going to be available next year. Big teams, names. I mean, the Dolphins could be looking for a coach because Mike McDaniel he's not getting along with some of the teams. Hill and him aren't getting along. If Hill stays there, how long is that going to last? So McDaniel could be available. So I think Liam could go over there, stay in Miami or stay in Florida. So there's a lot of interesting thoughts as far as this coaching carousel. The interesting thought here, as far as I'm concerned, is the Saints. Where are the Saints going here? Are they going to really go with Anthony Weaver? Are they really, as an organization, thinking and going in that route? I mean, that's horrible. They should have just kept the coaching staff there from this year. It doesn't make any sense. And Anthony Weaver is, again, a young guy, a defensive coordinator that's been pretty good. I would have definitely reached out to Pete Carroll. I would have interviewed him. I think that makes more sense. At least you have a veteran guy. I think the Raiders are making the right choice. Pete Carroll understands, obviously, what it is to play in the AFC. He was a defensive coordinator for many, many years over there in the AFC. He also knows how to beat AFC teams over the years, as we've seen it many, many times when he was over there in Seattle. I just think the best move and the best value when it comes to coaching was Pete Carroll. And I wasn't surprised that the Saints were going to fall out on Aaron Glenn. He never wanted to go there. He used the Saints as bait. That's what he did. He wanted the Jets job. Everybody knew he wanted the Jets job. And I think the Jets knew that he wanted the Jets job. Hence the reason why the Jets didn't interview Ben Johnson, because they knew they were going to take his counterpartner. So, I mean, Jet fans are going crazy because they wanted Ben. Ben is going to a place where he needs to win now. With that team set up the way it is, and he got a lot of money. If Ben Johnson fills with Caleb Williams, oh my God, it's not going to last that long. Matt Nagy, ask Matt Nagy how long it lasted for him. It's not going to work in Chicago. Ben Johnson, who was a big mouth, who said, I'm not taking a job unless I'm one of the highest paid coaches in the league, and I'm going where there's a quarterback. All right, you're there, buddy. Let's see what you're going to do over there, bud. Because if you fell with the number one pick, a guy that has a tremendous amount of talent, who had Matt Eberflus as his coach and still was pretty damn good, and you don't find a way to get this guy playing at a top-end quarterback as a top 5, top 7 quarterback in the next 2 years, you're going to be gone and looking for a job. You'll probably head back to Lionsville or the Lions Den with Dan Campbell. Trevor Lawrence, I feel bad for you.
Yeah. You're wasting a quote-unquote generational talent quarterback who you paid $55 million to. You're going to lose a lot of young players in the offseason from those drafts. And now all of a sudden a roster that I thought seemed like a borderline playoff roster for a while, they're going to lose a lot. It's the same thing that happened at the end of Tom Coughlin when he was there, because everybody got frustrated. And Fish is mentioning in our private chat too, Shad Khan, is he starting to be to blame where nobody trusts him as an owner, and no good coach is going to want to go there. And that's where you're going to be settled with.
Only reason
for Bambi Saleh.
The only reason why Aaron Glenn took that job with the Jets, and Aaron Glenn was the second or third most prominent coach available. The only reason why he took the Jets job, because everybody knows Woody Johnson is all over the place. The only reason why he took that job is because he knows the organization and he loves the Jets. He loves the New York Jets. He loves everything about the organization. He wanted that job for years, and he got run out of town because of Robert Saleh. And now he's sitting there pretty, and he has a chance to prove himself. That's the only reason why the Jets got Aaron Glenn, because they would have been in the same predicament as the Jaguars if it wasn't Aaron Glenn, the big name that was available, and an ex-Jet. That's the only reason why they got Aaron Glenn, and it has a lot to do with the organization. Now, if it's the Chicago Bears, Chicago has been known to bring in coaches, pay the coaches, and they keep them for 2-3 years and they're out like Trout, okay? And I could see that with Ben Johnson. If Ben Johnson does not produce or gets Caleb Williams playing at a top level in the next 2 years, he'll be out on his third year. There is no way the organization is going to keep him. As far as the Jets are concerned, I think Aaron Glenn is going to be there 4 or 5 years. They're going to give him enough time to get these young guys. He obviously has Sauce Gardner there and Garrett Wilson. He's got a core of young players, Quincy Williams. He's got some guys there that are signed in and still under rookie contracts that he can help build and help them believe in this team and how he wants to build this team in the future. So I think Aaron Glenn makes a lot of sense why he's going. And that's why they brought Aaron there, is because he wants to be there. And he has an opportunity now to build this team up the way he sees fit. Just like Dan Campbell. When Dan Campbell went to the Lions, the whole point here was he needed to fix up a big mess. And what did they do? First thing they did was trade Matthew Stafford. That was the number one thing they did. They traded Matthew Stafford. They brought Jared Goff in there. They got a ton of draft stock from it. And then they traded Ramsey. They traded, not Ramsey. I'm sorry. They traded for other, different positions. That was the Rams. I'm sorry. They traded for other positions and he moved out. They tried to get rid of wide receivers and bring in wide receivers. They drafted St. Brown. They did all the things that they needed to and build that offensive line, which became one of the best offensive lines in football. They built a culture. I'm going to tell you this right now. The Saints, if Weaver goes there, he's there for 2 years. He might even be fired after this year. I think it's a big mistake.